wants and needs. While you might think you're being kind sometimes, if all you can do is offer pity and empathy, it's not a kindness, and it's only you're really making feel better. The person you show tough love to might not end up seeing things in the end as I do, but it's not about you getting a pat on the back, and it's about doing the most good for others while not increasing the pain they must suffer at the moment they're suffering it. This will be mostly personal on my part. I've done this first part that I'm already covering. I hope by telling this that it might shed light on why I'm so upset at what has been done by the last 4 presidents on those 4 nations given special status, those people under that are listed there in the government. So I just wanted, the first part is to explain exactly what was done by them. Anyway, so here I go. In 1998, I started having emotional problems, dreams, leading to me feeling unsafe in the house. I couldn't stay in the house. I knew little of why, and all I remembered was darkness and a 6-shooter gun turning toward me, but a glint of the light on the back of the barrel. When I woke up, I understood it had to do with my dad, and I was feeling unsafe. I had to leave the house. That started me down a road of emotional turmoil I hope never to see. My dad died soon after that. I never had enough to even begin to put together questions to ask him. Even if I wanted, I couldn't ask him. And quite honestly, I don't see why he would tell me. I came back from the funeral, and that was the first night I tried to commit suicide. I would not accept what was in my head. I had no hope of confirming or denying it with his death. He's the only other person besides me who might have been able to make sense. And I was not going to accuse anyone with what was in my head. Time slowly passed, and by 2000, almost 2 years later, I'd realized it had started to affect my work. It was no longer staying at home. I did seek counseling that led to a psychiatrist, and when I cut the wrist first time, right after the funeral, and I got back home, the attempts were never serious, but they did stop once I accepted that those dreams most likely happened. But even though today I have far more of the pieces of the puzzle, I will never, ever just say to anyone, it happened as a fact. I have accepted it. I do not believe in ruining other people's reputations under a possibility, relying on a memory that I do not have all the pieces. That is wrong. Now, to resume. Before, I'd been able to not fall apart around others, but I had a boss at my job. I turned around, and I broke down crying, apologizing profusely. I had to explain, since others had seen it, to the head boss. They wanted an explanation. I had 2 car wrecks because of this as well. My concentration was so chaotic. Last one, I decided it was best not to drive, so I used public transportation. That necessitated me leaving my job. It was further away, and about 6 months later, after temporary jobs, I got a permanent job at a new and better job. Yet, still, I was missing more and more days, feeling like I wanted to hide sometimes when I was at work. But I suffered. After 2 years, I finally had missed over 40 hours in a year, and so was terminated. I was feeling very broken. I was beginning to realize just exactly how unreliable I'd become. And I'd always been so put together, this was killing me. Being someone that was under control, and I was useless all of a sudden. I looked over how unreliable I had become, as I said, and I realized it was time to consider disability. At first, I just wanted to find out if they agreed with me. That started in August 8th, 2002. It would leave me in limbo until well into 2009, mostly because I was being honest with people in the government, and sadly it seems you're not supposed to do so, since that is if you actually want to be heard. Anyway, that is the part that is most important, that led up to the time period that I'm talking about. I did not want to go back to the hometown that I lived in. What was in my head, I just felt like I'd die if I went home. Funny, since I wished for it to end each night, I depleted all my funds. I moved in with a roommate that had a more screwed up way to look at life than I ever had. Daily it was like I was in the land of Oz. Everything I learned in life, all that was right and wrong, things you should not do, he did. And while it was a chaotic and amazingly somehow it worked for him, I felt more insane because I couldn't understand everything that I knew and he was not doing it, and it worked. I couldn't imagine living like that, yet you couldn't deny somehow there was always a gullible employer or people that would rescue him. I could not live that way. I knew it was wrong, yet I did not want to go back to my hometown again. So I ran to someone I'd already lived with and had 2 years of hell getting away from, not because of what he had done, but because I didn't want to face what was going on, and sadly, he didn't either. And as I said, he was feeling pity and empathy. He felt responsible. And sadly, he didn't show the tough love that maybe he should have. But he was at least sane from the person that I was living with, and I had no other options besides going home. So I asked if he'd let me stay while I tried to get on Section 8 and moved into an apartment on my own. I assume why he did it was, as I said, he felt guilty for the past. At the time, I was so glad I'd avoided having to go back home. As I said, I felt I would die if I had to do that. In hindsight, it would have been best if he'd said no. I did not blame him. After all, I asked him, and out of compassion, he put himself out. But I understand today, all along, what I wanted was not what I needed. To finish up, I did in 3 months get into Section 8. $25 a month rent, and even that I couldn't pay since all I had was food stamps. This is 2004. The insane guy helped, but being insane, he was hardly reliable. But hey, it was better than going home to die, right? All I had to do was manage his money, pay bills for him. For $25, that's not bad. I sold everything, books, music, electronics. By the end of the first year, I had no black and white TV, no phone, no internet, no cable. Lord have you go without cable, right? No phone, no internet. And amazingly enough, I'm very proud during that time that I managed without becoming a leech on others. I never asked more from that guy, and when he got more unreliable, I finally reached out to my mom, who would much rather me come home. Yet, still she helped, as being a mother who should, or, well, maybe not should, but she did. I regret that most of all because I knew Mom wanted me home. Still, all I asked was rent to stay there and a month's bus pass. But bad enough to give me some regrets today. Finally, 2006, she reached retirement age. I was still waiting for disability hearing. They were backlogged during that time. I had tried to work, managed most, for a week or two, once for a month, but all ended with panic attacks. She was now in limited income, I couldn't ask her to help do this anymore. Finally, I surrendered to the fate. I went years at home, wanting to die. Why bother to pick up pieces? So, in my mind, I was just waiting. I'd long since given up on suicide. Something in me would not go that far. So instead, each night, like a mantra in my head, I lay there and begged that God would end this. But I woke up each morning. Finally, 2009, the disability, I finally got it. Of course, it wasn't for the mental condition. No, I wasn't nuts or unreliable. But my weight. I was no more disabled than I was in 2001. In fact, I actually weighed more before they gave me the disability than I did when they gave me the disability. But it had been long enough. I was no longer covered by the full Social Security, and so this time they graciously gave me the least amount they possibly could. But I managed, as I am today, and as I said, I'm quite proud of the fact that I've limited the amount of people that I've abused and used. I still had little reason to live, but it was better. I knew I couldn't leave Mom alone, so life was still on hold. I don't think I ever gave up on wishing God would take me in, at least until 2012. I'd locked on to the ideal of the Maya calendar, saying the end of the world was going to be in December of 2012. Sorry guys, I guess in despair I was willing to take you all with me. Sadly, my last hope fell through. I knew then I was going to have to face up and live again, and I've been doing better. I don't think until 2015 I ever did get it right, but seeing Mom's struggle, I realized how fearful she was of everything. And I understood with all she sacrificed, she was the only one that had a right to ask so much of me, no one else. That changed things, and I've been much stronger. But I was a stubborn person, and along the way I had quote-unquote kind people who gave me just enough to keep me where I wanted to be, but never where I needed to be. The experiences was long, and I still remember the worst of the emotions as I felt like I was drowning. But I also learned much, and I'm a much stronger person because of it. Still, it was probably a harder life than was necessary. As I said, I think, had they shown a little bit of tough love, maybe I might have had to actually get rid of some of my wants and face what my needs were. That's why this foreign nation special status sickens me so much. These presidents, every time they signed it, they probably thought it buys these people time. But I wonder if they considered for a minute what they were dooming these people to. To them, it was a kindness, condemning them to years, maybe decades, in shadows, just hoping for something better. After all, that's all they had left, right? I hear some on the right say it's not our fault. Yet we voted in ignorance for the people that did this, and that sickens me. I've been trying so hard not to do to others what was done to me out of the kindness of their heart, only to find I, in ignorance, allowed this to happen. How dare our leaders do this? And fact is, all our leaders had to do was be honest. If they had just admitted to us, if the media had done its job and explained, had they been willing to risk trusting the sympathy and empathy of the nation, maybe these people might have had a road, a path to citizenship a lot sooner. How you could be an illegal alien and still not commit a crime, we just didn't understand. I think most in America, as I said, would demand a path to citizenship. Not because they should be here, but because of what our government did to them. We must fix this. And the only way is a path to citizenship. What that path entails, I do not know, but I believe part should be that they give up the right of sponsorship, what we call chain migration. Their kids should have it, but there must be a limit to just how far empathy goes. But the only ways to make this right is they go that path. If they don't meet the deadlines, reasonable deadlines, then they must go back home. But if they embrace this country, as they say they want, they have suffered far more than most of us citizens at the hands of our government. Ignorance should never be a defense by anyone in this country. Should never be a defense by anybody, anywhere. Anyway, that's what I wanted to say. Thank you.